Hi, number twos. If your birth date falls on 2nd, 11th, 20th, or 29th, then this reading is going to be for you. What we are going to be doing is first I'll give you a little bit of a numerology analysis based on this number to get an understanding of how 2024, which is the year of Saturn, how it is going to turn out for you. And then we will do a very short tarot analysis to see any other advice or any other guidances you may need. Now, I have my notes prepared for your reading on the laptop on which I'm recording. So if you see my eyes hovering, that is because I'm using that as a reference point. So the second number is represented by the planet Moon. Moon is our mind, Moon is our mother, Moon is the feminine energies within us. And it doesn't matter even if you're a male. Moon is about emotion, sensitivity, compassion, empathy, kindness. Moon is also intuition. Okay? And Saturn is the planet of pain. Saturn is the planet of responsibility. Saturn is the planet of sacrifice. Saturn is the planet of hard work. Now, you tell me, if a person who feels very deeply, is emotional, is sensitive, is prone to overthinking, because Moon also represents the mind, that is being forced because of the energies of the year to do a lot of hard work, to make sacrifices, to take charge. How will that impact the mind? Somebody who's already sensitive to changes, to energies, to prone to overthinking, the moment they are impacted by something as great as taking responsibility, charging ahead, planning, structure, it is bound to affect their mind. And that might be predominantly what your 2024 might be all about, which is controlling your mind. Because the mind is the cause of all joys and sorrows in our life. And when it is combined with Saturn, the hard taskmaster, it can bring more sorrow than joy, more sorrow sometimes than results. And I'm not saying that results will not be there, because I don't want you to start off your year on a negative note, taking this reading too much to your heart. What I do want to tell you is that even if there would be progress in the year, and there would be progress in the year, there would be results that you would see in the year, your mind will not allow you to see it or accept it or acknowledge it and appreciate it. Your mind would always be racing way into the future or way back into the past, and staying in the present, staying with it, and doing what it is that you have to make this a successful year in your mind would be difficult. Your success could be out there in the world, you could be achieving it, and still there is a chance that you may not realize it, you may not fully absorb it and integrate within your soul that yes, I have done something this year. So as I say this, I'm also going to be giving you out few remedies and few ways of how to curb this over the year. But right now, let's just delve a little bit more deeper into understanding that what other things can shape up your life this year. The biggest thing that you have to understand this year is that because Moon is all about emotions, kindness, compassion, going with the flow, creativity, intuition. So a person who has this as their number likes to do as they please, or so they really try. They really try to do things as it pleases them because they want to be in touch with who they are. They want to be true to themselves. But Saturn is opposite. Saturn is cold, Saturn is rigid, Saturn is a strict teacher, Saturn is very practical, somewhat also notorious. So now when we combine the trait of Saturn, which is it is going to be testing you, it is going to be teaching you some hard lessons, it's going to have a stick in its hand and going to thrash you to be like, hey, get up again and do this. And the moment you decide that, oh, you know what, like this is just a little bit too much for me, maybe I need to like take some downer, Saturn again goes like, hey, what about structure, what about discipline? So this is how you can literally imagine your year to go through. Now when this happens, what will happen to the Moon, which is our mind, our feminine side, our creativity? it starts getting tensed, it starts getting worried. It's like, oh god, there's just so much to handle. I don't know if I can do with this much pressure. Would I be able to survive? And that's when the survival mode turns on. Okay, so this year may feel like, oh, I was living in the survival mode, but let me tell you, you will make good progress this year. There would be a lot of things that will, again, in hindsight, by next year, that would start making a little bit more sense to you. But throughout the year, you would just feel that I always had so much on my plate and I could not really bother with anything else. But I was also, because of this, somewhat into just me, myself, and my mind, and just thinking. So this is something that you have to be a little bit wary of, because staying too much into your mind or letting your mind control you too much might adversely impact you. So you would have to do a few remedies, which I'm going to outline towards the end of the video, to combat this. So now, when I've set up this entire context, let's first talk about your health. Now, when already something like this is happening, that Saturn is making you work hard, because of which your emotions are working hard, you're running through taxing situations, because hey, it is going to be a year full of obstacles, a year of slow movement for everybody. Okay, so what will happen? You will start overthinking. Now, because you will start overthinking, there is a chance that your mental health may deteriorate. You may get into depression, you may start having anxiety issues, you may get sleeplessness at night, you may constantly keep on getting like random dreams, and you may just feel that my mind is always very foggy, it's always very disturbed. You would also feel that there's just so much of confusion in your life. Like, when will you have the clarity? When will there be light at the end of the tunnel? You will just feel inside this dark pit tunnel. Okay, now in this situation, what tends to happen is sometimes people find their coping mechanisms. For few of you, you may get a little bit addicted, or may start getting too engrossed in drinking, smoking. I also like to believe that watching too much of predictive videos, or immediately randomly spending too much money in crystals or any such healing modalities can also be a coping mechanism for many. So this is what will happen to you. Your mental health will get impacted for sure. Now, when our mental health gets impacted, it's very normal our physical health also starts getting impacted. Suddenly we have unexplained back pains, we have leg pains, we feel lethargic, we just feel, oh, we don't know, like, nothing just feels bright, our body doesn't feel like it's supporting us, and that is all your Moon and Saturn dancing together and using you as a puppet. And like I said, I'll explain few remedies in the end, but yes, this is something that you won't be able to avoid through this year. This will keep on happening, and for this you will have to take extra steps to ensure that you're always stable minded, you're maintaining equanimity, you are seeing things for what they are and not letting anything impact you way too much. Okay, see, Saturn, if you have seen my first video in which I've spoken about 2024 collectively, Saturn has a strained relationship with family. Saturn also has a strange relationship with women, with its own mother. And that is because Saturn is also slightly notorious, and there are multiple stories that, how Saturn once ended up kicking Sandhya because just he was hungry and things like that. So what happens is, because of this, you need to be a little bit careful this year to not hurt your parents or the women figure in your life. Okay, and this is especially relevant for men who are trying to date, men who are in a relationship, or even your sisters and your mothers. You have to be very careful of your behavior towards women, because the beautiful aspects of your Moon, which is empathy, compassion, are going to get covered up by the cold, rigid, notorious Saturn. And this is where, you may experience detachment also in your relationships, or if you're single but you're still mingling, you may come into that category of emotionally unavailable boy or girl. Okay, so this is something that you have to be careful of. And Also, this is a time when you might become one of those people who's constantly testing emotions of others in your life. Because see, what is happening is you are feeling foggy. There's lack of clarity. There's lack of trust in people, because your moon is getting aspected by the energies of Saturn within this year. So you would feel like constantly testing the emotions of others, seeing that, oh, if I tell them to do this, will they do this in this time? If they don't, see, this is what I knew. So I would tell you to refrain from all this toxicity. And this is also bringing me to an important point. There is a book that I am going to put up a screenshot of here. I think people who have this, who are watching this video, you need to read this book. If you're a guy, if you're a girl, it doesn't matter, but you need to read this book to understand that you don't have to be the nice one. You just have to be a good person. And I'll talk more about this in the later part of the video. But again, going back to 2024, your number is 2. We already see there's so much 2 energy happening all throughout the year, which means that as a part of this mental health issue, the good side of this is there would be a very deep interest in knowing yourself more, knowing your life better, asking the bigger questions of life. Why this happened? Why that happens? Why this? Why that? You'll become very curious, you know. Your intuition would also be on the rise. And because of which, I think this is a great year for people who want to get into healing or occult modalities, or they want to develop their spirituality further. This, because Saturn also supports spirituality. Saturn literally supports puja. Saturn also somewhat traditionally supports religion, which means that if you are one of those people who believe in God, who believe in puja, who believe in doing puja ke rituals, this is your year, because this is the place where your Saturn and your moon are coming together and they're like, hey, let's do this. So spirituality, healing, occult modalities, if anything is drawing you, do it. Learn it. It'll be good for you. And you will also do all of this because at the heart of it, you would be wanting to find answers, find the solution to get out of this mental rut. And interesting, you know, this brings me back to my previous point where I said that do not make this as your coping mechanism. Because if you do that, then you're not using the energies in the right manner. You're not channelizing them in the right manner. Instead, you have channelized it in a negative manner by making it as your coping mechanism, over investing in something that's maybe not needed. Okay, so use it for good, I think. And many of you might actually start healing. You might start a tarot page, a tarot channel like me. And yeah, I think it'll be great if you channelize your energies like that. Now, moon is also about intuition. Okay, so your intuition is going to be quite good this year, but at the same time, the energy of Saturn would bring doubt, because you would be asked to see things practically and not trust your intuition. Now this is where you have to turn inwards and be like, hey, I trust my moon sign, I trust my number 2, and I will first choose intuition, then everything else. Okay, moon also represents your mother. So here, apart from your mother, it also represents your maternal, motherly aspects. So your femininity, your creativity, your motherly side is going to be an all-time high this year, which means you're going to be a giver all the way through this year. You will be the first one that people will come to when they need advice. You will be a pillar of strength to people in your life. You would be there for them. You would be just doing things for them like how mothers do things for their children. And this is where again I'd like to bring the book Don't Be the Nice Guy. There's another one, I'll put the screenshot. You need to read it. Why? Because Saturn is also practical, and Saturn is cold and rigid, which means Saturn is also about boundaries. This year you're going to learn about boundaries. And this is something I like to tell everybody when we are watching such videos and we are hearing things like, oh, you are the giver, oh, you are nice. We automatically start feeling that, oh yeah, this is all true for us, because nobody wants to believe that, you know, there could be something wrong with them. For those who do not realize but they cross boundaries with other people, they are overtly over dependent or codependent on people in their life, or they are the ones who could be what we in the tarot world call energy vampires, then you are going to be learning in this year the value of independence and how that will happen is because other people will start drawing up their boundaries with you. So again, I don't have your personal details, this is a general reading, but yes, that may also be a possibility for many of you. And if that's not the case, if you are the one who's literally the mother in your friend circle, or even sometimes a parent to your own parent, then Saturn is going to be teaching boundaries to you. Saturn is going to tell you, hey, you have to be practical. You can't be over empathic. You can't be overtly kind. You have to first think of yourself. And for this, I'd also like to highlight one more thing. I have a very simple theory. If you want, you can borrow this. If you feel good doing something for somebody and you don't question it later in life, you don't question anything about it, and you don't seek reciprocation immediately, like after you've done it, you don't feel, oh, will they ever do this back for me, etc., then continue doing it. But when you do something for somebody and you start questioning that, will they do something like this for me, would they go this extra mile for me, then don't do it. And I think that's the only way to live life without resentments. Now coming on to the part that everybody is always more keen on, which is your finances and your career. I know you had been waiting for that. So you would not see it. You would be in this Moon, Saturn confused energy. Why are things not progressing? But things would be progressing for you this year. There would be major changes coming in your life this year in regards to career growth, opportunities. But again, the problem is your sabotaging behavior, or your mind should support what is happening. That means the moment the responsibility at work rises, don't be scared. Don't be like, oh, will I be able to manage it or not? If you have opportunities and you feel, oh, I may not be able to handle it, don't go into the freeze mode. Instead, find people who can help you in grabbing those opportunities, and collectively all of you maybe come together and create something out of it. So there would be a rise in your finances and your career this year. However, you will not see it. You would be very busy overthinking. You would be very busy, doing the nap toll, doing the accounting. Oh, but is this working out like this, or will this happen? This is also a year when you would be in a very strong comparison with others. And this may especially be relevant again for your career. And second, if you are somebody who's planning to channelize your healing, your occult, and all such what's the word? If you're planning to delve into healing, occult, and all these modalities, either like to learn it or like to be a service provider of this, then there is a chance of comparison there. Third thing, whereas there's a chance of comparison, is the creativity. So, it's not just overall life that, oh, I'm just comparing myself with everybody. It would be like in very minute things where you feel that you're not doing the best, or you want to be able to do the best. Instead of working on it, you would compare yourself to other people. So if you are planning to start some creative venture, and I feel that people who have this number are going to be looking at starting something which is more creative, that feeds their soul a little bit more. Could be something handmade, could be to do something with intricate, ornate things, something very creative, feminine is what I'm hearing. Then there is a very, very strong chance that you would again sabotage it by going into overtly comparative mode with other people. So this is not something that you have to allow, okay? You have to ensure that you're just in your lane, you're focused there, and you're just doing the mental work that is needed to keep yourself calm, keep yourself away from delusions and subconscious fears, and just focus on doing the duty. You need to be more grateful. You need to be more acknowledging of your own efforts. You also need to be grateful to yourself, okay? Because see, what happens is, to a lot of other people, we say, oh, be grateful to your life. But no, I think people with this number, you first need to be more grateful to yourself. This is a great year for your family life. In fact, you might feel that, I'm like feeling a little detached. I don't maybe really want to be there for people. I don't know. I'm just like so busy in my mind and head. I don't have time for anybody just yet. But your family would be extremely nurturing towards you. I think your family would understand this, and they would provide you the nourishment, the care, the nurturance that is needed. Last couple of things. Saturn is going to constantly poke you and trigger you, which means it will bring back few situations that have happened earlier, which we call patterns, or it will do certain things which will hurt you, which will put you on a pause for a little bit of while. Example, you lend money to a friend, and you have a history that whenever you have lent money to the friend or whatever, maybe things have gone bad with them or they have not returned the money. But now you have some great friends in your life and you end up lending money to somebody. Saturn will poke you here, meaning either you might start acting doubtful because your moon, your mind is also going to be like, oh, will they return the money? Will this happen? Will that happen? Or actually the person ends up not returning the money, which creates that pattern. So Saturn will poke you. It will bring out a lot of triggers, but it's only doing this to make you understand what life is, to take the mask off people, to tell you not to be this overtly giving person, to also tell you to trust your intuition. So Saturn will keep on trying this. Like practically it would make sense, intuitively maybe it will not. And that is why I say that this would also be a year of like confusion and clarity. You would be like, no, I know I have to do this, but I don't know, should I do this, should I do that? Little bit of indecisiveness would be prominent this year for you. Now the remedy, the biggest remedy first is I want you to read the book that I put a screenshot of. Second, you need to absolutely start learning meditation. And yes, we say it for everybody should be meditating, and that is true, we all should be meditating. But for you this year, you need to meditate. Meditation is the only thing that is going to be a game changer for you. If you feel that, oh, I'm just not able to sit, I don't know how to meditate, try using this app called Headspace. If not meditation also, and you just can't sit, your body is very gross, try joining a yoga class. Yoga class, mindful breath work is going to be the game changer for you. So anything that teaches you how to breathe properly, how to focus on your breath, steal a few moments of pause, mindfulness, these are going to be your favorite keywords for this year. And this is the only thing that's going to keep you calm amidst the seemingly chaotic life. Life would be progressing, but then here it will be like, oh my god, it's all chaotic. And wearing a moonstone would actually be very helpful. Moonstone would also help you sleep. And lastly, practicing Trataka meditation would help you. Now again, if you can't meditate or you can't sit with yourself, I think Trataka is a great way to start meditating, because what happens with Trataka meditation is that you have an external object that you're focusing on, so it's a little bit more easier to keep your mind centered. So yes, that's it on the numerology analysis for my number 2. And now we are going to be looking into your tarot analysis, because I spoke so much about mental health and the energy of the moon playing on your mind. I have given you extra cards. So here I have all your tarot cards with me. The overall theme of this year, when you'd look back, you'd realize that moon has taught you leadership. Saturn has taught you leadership in this year. Saturn has taught you how to be in your power. Saturn has taught you how to be balanced in your mind. And I remember in the numerology analysis, I spoke of equanimity. So Saturn will teach you that. I think doing Vipassana also might benefit some of you. At least the concept on which it is built. If you can find any other spiritual modality that teaches you how to maintain equanimity in your mind, I think that would really help you. So yes, that is what Saturn is going to teach you this year. Now overall, if we look at your year, there would be progress, like I said, especially in terms of your career and your finances. Your life would be moving ahead, but it'll all happen when you come back here. When you come to the center of your core, to the center of your heart, when you center yourself, when you are doing everything which is in touch with yourself from here. Now, what does this mean? Let me take a minute and elaborate more on this. What we truly are, once we know that, and how we would know that, we would know that by practicing mindfulness, by practicing meditation, by reading and becoming more self-aware, by knowing who we truly are. Then whatever we do just radiates in the right manner. Because as we become more self-aware, we start realizing what's right in us, what's wrong in us, why we do things for what we do. And without realizing, sometimes we also change our actions. Because once we understand the reason that, oh, I am moody because of this reason, or I have my emotions going in a negative state because of so and so reason. Once we know that reason, it's easier to move past it and then bring the better or the positive aspects. And in that process, what happens is we change as a person. We become more aligned with who we truly are before society, friends, family, work, career, boss, everything took a toll on our mind and made us change who we are. So if you find ways of coming back to your center, coming back to your home, then this year would feel wonderful to you. And that's why I would just say it again, meditation is so important for you guys this year. And interestingly, from my other deck, the bottom of the deck energy is surrender to rest and sleep. So also sleeping, because of course it's the moon. And for those of you who know anything about tarot, then if you see the moon card also, moon card is completely about not being able to sleep, having random dreams, and maybe sometimes nightmares or whatever, because of which you have like a disturbed sleep, or your mind is not letting you sleep. So sleeping is also something that's going to be very important for you this year. You would have to focus on regulating your sleep cycle. Things are going to be progressing. They will progress each time you do it in full awareness and know of why you are doing what you are doing. So make sure that you practice something that keeps bringing you to your center, to yourself. Okay. I don't know if everybody is going to start something or not this year, but that is definitely the advice, that there is something which is a little bit more creative, like a business venture or something that you've been wanting to do. Like I said, for many, it could also be about healing and occult modalities, because it is number two. You need to be focusing on that. You know what I feel like, your life will keep you busy in sense, first your mind will keep you busy, your job might keep you busy, your career might keep you busy, family, etc. And it'll be just like a latent desire that, oh, I wanted to do this, or I wanted to start this, and you may not, it may keep getting delayed. And yes, delays is also a big theme of this year because of Saturn. So I would actually tell you to please start it. Please start it. Focus on it. That is where you would feel also more in alignment with yourself. Okay. Then the other cards that I have here is, there is a need to take risk, because we have the Fool here. It's time to become a little bit foolish. And I love how, even the Fool has this crescent moon energy. So, what I would say about this particular card for you is that if your night time is keeping you disturbed, and if your night time is when all the thoughts and everything starts arising, maybe just make use of the time and start working then. That's one thing I would say. Second, there is a need to take risk. Now you would be in doubts. You'd like, oh, but I do enough. But do I do enough to take this risk? Would I be able to do well? There would be a lot of subconscious fears rising, and that is where the advice, at least from my tarot cards and the energies of the year, is go for it. Because Saturn loves people who are hardworking, who are consistent, who are disciplined. So as long as you just keep doing that, it's going to be great for you. Which also reminds me, Saturn always questions this, that I can give you a lot. I can give you all that you desire, but are you worthy of it? Do you deserve it? And this is where you have to constantly show Saturn and be like, hey, I am deserving of it. I will put in the effort. Okay. The other message that we have here is Seven of Wands. See, honestly, if you look at all of these cards, they are just pointing at one thing: harness your inner energy, your inner strength. Okay. And while you do so, my other card here is Fool. Be foolish, be childlike, enjoy the process, enjoy the fun. So when I look at Seven of Wands, what again I feel is that there is a lot of strength within you, which may be a little bit latent, or might actually be getting too covered up with emotions, because when we are thinking emotionally, sometimes we are not able to take certain stronger decisions of life. Okay. So this is the year when you need to tame your mind, and you need to bring out the lion energy within you, the one that can do it all by taming your mind and by using your emotions as a strength and not as a weakness to your own self. Okay, there would be a lot that would be on your plate for sure this year, mentally also, but each time you're simply being told that if you can return to yourself, that is where things would become different for you, they would change for you. So yeah, that's all I have for you, pile number. See, another thing that I'm getting here is one more remedy that I would give to people who are watching this video would be that if you can on Saturdays visit Shani Mandir, or if you can start feeding crows, please do that. There would also be a need every now and then for you to visit A, religious places, and B, visit water bodies. You need to take in energy from the nature. So whenever you have a chance to maybe go on a short trip or something, do not let it go. Make sure that you grab it. Nature is going to be very rewarding in providing you the energy that you need. Another suggestion that I would give you is, if you can, bring more plants in your home, and plants that you can actually take care of. So if you are somebody who is not really into plants, and please buy low maintenance plants or whatever, but bring plants in your home, good plants, colorful plants, whatever, like as per the sunlight and conditions of your home would be suitable, but you need to be around nature. Okay, now the last few messages that I have here is surrender frustration. Yes, this is not a word that I used in the numerology analysis, which I should have. Because of this whole entire Moon, Saturn dancing on your mind, you're going to be frustrated, and that is why you would not be able to see things for what they are. And frustration doesn't open any doors. The key to resolving a dilemma is to take a breath, center yourself. It's the same bloody message everywhere. And regroup so you can approach the situation more calmly. You know what? If you don't come out of this year meditating or accepting your healing, occultish side, or your creative, feminine side, then I'm telling you, like, you're going to be wasting the energies of this year. So you need to accept that and just go for it. Surrender denial is the other message. Accept people and situations as they are without denying. Then you can see things clearly and make the best decisions. This, I think, relates also to the point where I spoke about that Saturn is going to be poking you or triggering you by bringing out certain patterns. So what happens is sometimes we also tend to ignore patterns in other people, in situations, in our own self. Like the moment somebody calls us and they want to take from us our motherly side, our caring side, we are also very happily or like, okay, haan, batao, kya hua, this and that. While that is good, that is true, you are a giver, but then this is where you need to understand that maybe, and this is why I read that book, don't be a nice person, be a good person. So you need to understand that why are you doing this? Is it that you seek validation? Is it that this is your way of just keeping the friendship going? Do you get anything in return? So Saturn is going to teach you all of this, but if only you would take the blindfold off. Can you see the blindfold? Yeah, you can. And lastly, surrender to passion. Oh my God, like, I'm just telling you, whatever it is that you want to start, whatever it is that you want to learn, whatever it is that is drawing you, you have to do it this year. So get out of your head and feel the fire in your belly. Focus on people and activities that ignite your passion and let it flow. So yes, this is the year to be true to yourself. That is your theme for this year. While everything will happen, you will keep on doing your duty, you would rise in your career, there would be good opportunities coming your way, but it all has to be about being true to yourself. And that's why you need to come to yourself, you need to know yourself, and that's why meditation. So yeah, that's it. My number twos, let me know how much did this reading resonate with you, and I will see you in some of my other readings. Bye.